At Poka Poka Town High, both Momika and Kira went to the same classroom as they are both classmates. Behind them, Akari was staring at them quite seriously and told them to meet her at lunch break. They both have no idea why and what's going on with her after she just told them that they are going to meet her later. It was lunch break. At the cafeteria, both Momika and Kira bought their lunches, and as they were about to take a seat, Akari came and told them that they would need a talk on the rooftop. At the rooftop, while Momika and Kira are enjoying their lunches, Akira immediately straight on asks them about pretty cure stuff, while both Momika and Kira were almost choked from their lunch, most particularly Momika. Once both of them were settled down after eating their lunches, Momika and Kira were quite surprised by Akari's question about pretty cures so suddenly. Akari explained to them that she had seen almost everything since yesterday about their precure identities and the Gattaiju they fought before. Since their secrets were exposed by Akari, both Momika and Kira promised to her that they will explain to her everything they know thus far in dismissal time. During the second period, Akari is staring at Momika and Kira behind her as she will be waiting for their promise. As the bell rang the school's dismissal time, Momika and Kira were concerned that Akari might expose their identity in the entire school or in public. At the same, Amaria and Pinky were worried as well, but both of them told Momika and Kira to be prepared for the worst just in case. Akari was waiting for them at the entrance gate until her close childhood friends Kawakaze Midorina and Ayakawarina met her before Momika and Kira. Midorina wanted to walk home with Akari as both of their houses are closed, living in the same street, but Akari told her that she has something else to do. So Midorina headed home first while Rina's butler arrived to pick her up in her family's limousine, as she and her family were rich. After they left, Momika and Kira arrived to meet Akari as promised, but they can't talk when there's plenty of people around them, so Akari decided that they will talk about it in the park where there are less people in the afternoon. At the park, Momika and Kira introduced their fairies, Pinky and Amaria, to Akari as acquaintances, and Akari introduced herself to them back. After their introduction, Akari wants to know if she is going to have a fairy partner and become a pretty cure. Pinky replies that as long as her pre-cure heart cards resonate with Akari, she will be a pretty cure, but it might take some time depending on whether she is ready or not. Amaria replies to Akari that she has a fairy named Scarlaw, but neither her or Pinky can't even tell where Scarlaw is. However, they know that Scarlaw could be watching them unnoticed anytime now, hiding from the humans and from their enemies as well. Then, both Pinky and Amaria briefly discussed the Pretty Cure legendary war against Felger and the Neo-Fusion Empire, also talking about Guy and the Precure heart cards as well. Once Akari put it all together, she thanked them for the chat and walked home. As Akari is already walking home while both Momika and Kira along with Pinky and Amaria heading home, behind the trees, Scarlaw is watching them and now following Akari to her house. In Akari's house, Akari just arrived home while her mom is about to prepare dinner and her dad is watching TV after work. Her sisters, however, ignored her and didn't notice her a bit as they just mind their own business, as both are college students while Akari is a first-year high schooler, same as Momika and Kira. Everyone is enjoying the dinner, but Akari still seems to be acting unusually with her sisters around. Both their mother and father were aware of it. After they finished their dinner, Akari immediately went to her room and jumped to her bed and got annoyed by her sisters as usual. A flashback reveals that Akari's kindness has been ignored and wasn't appreciated, as her sisters were so busy from their college studies and often threw away their birthday gifts made by her. After the end of flashback, she puts away the picture of her with her sisters to her drawer. As she closed the drawer, Akari picked up Cure Passion and Cure Chocolate Precure heart cards and started to think that she became a pretty cure despite her kindness to her sisters being mostly ignored. Outside her bedroom window, Scarlaw wants to comfort her, but she can't as the window is locked and she still has to wait till Akari is ready to be a pretty cure. The next morning, as Akari walked to school, her sisters followed behind, but they both headed to the train station to get to college as both of them are studying at the same school. When Akari almost arrived at school, Scarlaw finally revealed herself to her and wanted to ask her about her relationship with her older sisters. But suddenly, Akari just slapped her away and ran to school as Scarlaw slowly understood that it was complicated to talk about it. During class, both Momika and Kira seemed to have concern about Akari as she was feeling down since this morning, so they'll try to talk to her later during lunch break. In downtown, it's Horace's turn to gather some fear and despair for their leader Felger, while Jasper and Ursula are on their break and having a crystallized Cure Yum Yum pre-cure heart card. But Horace has no idea which Gat Taiju he'll make in an empty stomach, so he went to a noodle shop to eat some ramen noodles to replenish himself for a while. Back at school, during lunchtime, Momika and Kira take a seat with Akari and have a little talk of what happened, but she just walks off and eats somewhere else. At dismissal time, Akari was already heading out of the school's entrance gate, but Momika and Kira were waiting for her. Seems they were so persistent, Akari had no choice but to talk about her problem to them. On their way, Scarlaw appeared right in front of them and was determined to hear it out about Akari's relationship problem with her sisters. Akari was about to continue, a Gat Taiju, half Hashi and a half Noir, just wreaked havoc downtown, as Horace already summoned it. They wanted to stay a little longer to hear about her problem, but duty calls as Momika and Kira transformed into Cure Rosa and Cure Ember and flew off to Gat Taiju's location. After they left, Akari and Scarlaw immediately followed along. On the roof, Guy was there watching and keeping an eye on Akari when she's finally ready to be a pretty cure. At the train station, Akari's sisters, Mari and Carrie, have just got out of the train heading home, until they stumbled in the middle of the battle between Cure Rosa and Cure Ember against a Gat Taiju. During their battle, a bunch of debris is falling towards them until Cure Rosa saves them, but she hurts her left arm in the process. Meanwhile, Cure Ember binds the Gat Taiju with the prism chain, but it won't hold much longer. At the same time, Akari and Scarlaw just arrived to see it until Horace jumped in and attacked Cure Rosa from behind. As Horace is about to hurt her sisters, Akari comes to block his way to protect her older sisters. Once she blocks Horace's way while Horace comes closer, tormenting Akari to get out of the way, but Akari finally confessed her feelings towards her sisters by telling them they didn't give her kindness as she gives kindness to them. Now her sisters finally understood her feelings and her kindness. They finally apologized to her for ignoring her kindness to them for all those years. As Horace was about to smash Akari, the huge flash of red light blasted him away. Once it fades, Akari holds her pre-cure heart cards as her cards come to her aid. At the same time, Guy tossed the Hardy Fusion Pack to Akari while Scarlaw briefly taught her how to transform. Now Akari understands how it works. She starts her transformation. Akari opens the Hardy Fusion Pact and slides both Cure Chocolate and Cure Passion cards and shouted, "Let's go! Pretty Cure! Fusion Heart!" She snaps her fingers and takes a pose and jumps as the both powers from Cure Chocolate and Cure Passion unite to her and transforms into Cure Crimson, Red Heart of Kindness and Valiant. Kira Fresh, Cure Crimson, Cure Rosa, Cure Ember and her sisters were amazed that Akari has become a third pretty cure, and that makes Horace pissed off and commands the Gat Taiju to attack Cure Crimson, but she just shoved the Gat Taiju back with just one hand. Both her sisters were surprised by her powers as a pretty cure, and as Gat Taiju came back to attack again, Cure Rosa and Cure Ember blocked it and kicked the Gat Taiju upward. Then Cure Crimson jumps high and summons Cure Passion's Passion Harp and uses Passion Hurricane, attack from Cure Passion, to send the Gat Taiju to the Bay Area. The pretty cures have arrived at the Bay while Cure Crimson is carrying her sisters by using Cure Passion's teleportation powers to get to the Bay instantly. Her sisters wanted to see the pretty cures defeat the Gat Taiju. Horace is heading to the Bay where the action is now taking place, but he's a bit sluggish as he was so stuffed from eating too much ramen noodles. Cure Crimson summons the candy rod on her left hand while she is already holding the Passion Harp on her right hand. Then she combines it into Candy Harp and performs her attack, Choco Passion Aromas Hurricane, and purify the Gat Taiju. Once it was defeated, Amaria sensed the yellow pre-cure heart card, so she told Cure Ember to use her Hardy Fusion Pack to purify the crystallization and retrieved the Cure Yum Yum pre-cure heart card, while Horace didn't make it in time, so he retreated back to Dark Cross Castle. After that battle, Mari and Carrie deeply apologize again to their little sister A Carrie, but she already forgave them. However, now A Carrie's sisters know their pretty cure identities, they have to keep their identities a secret and they mustn't tell their parents about it. So Mari and Carrie agreed to never tell their secret to anybody and went back home together. At the stairwell, a maiden with a hat saw the whole thing, but it turned out to be Higashi Setsuna, as Cure Passion, watching their battle and seeing a third pretty cure making her debut. Setsuna was quite happy as the new pretty cures appeared to take their place to face Felger and the Neo-Fusion Empire. Seeing Cure Crimson using her powers for good is enough for her, so she teleported back home as she still had some of her powers, but just like all the cures, their powers are in 10%, too weak for them to transform. As they all walked back home and Momika was heading home, she heard a harmonica melody in the distance, but she didn't know who was playing it and where it could be. So she continued walking home while hearing that particular melody. And that melody came from Guy, Kurenagai, as Ultraman Orb and an unknown ally to the new Pretty Cure team. Whatever his reason why he recovered the Pretty Cure's powers in the first place, aside that Felger and the Neo-Fusion Empire will come back for vengeance, his real reason will be revealed soon enough. For now, there are now 3 Pretty Cures, but it was only just the beginning.